special. I mean, perfect coaching. I don't know. San Francisco 49ers will make the first pick as we go to the podium.
Please welcome a two-time conference special team player of the year as punter from the University of Pittsburgh. Four-time All-Pro, three-time Pro Bowler, Andy Lee.
What's up, Pittsburgh? I just want to say it's awesome to be back in my college hometown. It was an honor to play here for 4 years, and I just want to thank the 49ers for this opportunity. I want to give a shout-out to the 49er faithful, the best fans in the NFL. With the 33rd pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Dejon Stribling, wide receiver, Ole Miss.
Yeah. Dejon Stribling started
out with a receiver, huh?
State, a couple of years at Oklahoma State, and then went to Ole Miss. He's had to overcome some things. He said after his football career, so wants to go back home to Hawaii. Maybe do some surfing. Okay, water photography. It might be a little while before this guy can go and do that because he's a guy who can really help the 49ers.
I think this
still trying to get things set up.
He was one of my top guys in this draft. He's very smooth. He's athletic. Can catch balls and adjust to the ball, make back shoulder throws. He's got run catch. He got a block. He's got lots of production at Ole Miss, and I think this guy's going to has a total package.
Yeah, Coach, you know what? This guy's dad, Carlos, spent 17 years in the Marines. His teammates say he's very disciplined. He said his dad told him no shortcuts. That's why he has a high work ethic. He's going to be very, very good at the next level, Fields.
Yeah, 6'3", 207 pounds, with speed in the 4.3s. That right there is a good starter kit and a good way to get rolling those uncommon traits that we were just talking about a few moments ago. What else we liked about Dejon Stribling? He got better as the season wore on. His two best games of the season were under the microscope against Miami, against University of Georgia, who will have at least one defensive back taken either tonight or tomorrow. 7 catches for a +22 in that game. Stribling kept on getting better and better as the season wore on. Height, weight, speed, a good way to start the draft for the 49ers.
You know, one of the things we do here on our coverage, College Gateway version, NFL Draft on ABC, is we focus on the player's journey, the path, their background. Desmond, you mentioned his dad. Are you familiar with Dejon Stribling's uncle, WWE Hall of Famer, Don the Rock Morocco? Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't get that in my research. Well, I will say this. That's not a wide receiver body there. That's a defensive tackle.
Wow. That is unbelievable.
That's pretty good stuff. I like to read a couple of those guys.
So 49ers started things by taking the wide receiver from Ole Miss, and now the Arizona Cardinals. Who will they choose to go with? Jeremiah Love.
Arizona Cardinals selection. Please welcome an all-conference and all-American running back from the University of Pittsburgh, two-time Pro Bowler James Conner.
Pittsburgh, what's going on? Good to be home. With the 34th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Chase DeSantis, guard. Them.
Well, the new administration with the Cardinals.
Pull out the big board for you so you can see some of the guys that's available. Obviously, McCoy is one of the biggest names and the top guy left on the big board. The caution obviously was because of the ACL injury. But there is a lot of studs left, man, especially at edge. You got two twins from Clemson, man, that the Lions can look at. TJ Parker is one of them. You got Gabe. You got Howe. You got Zion Young. Some edges there if the Detroit Lions decide to go edge. But it's some players available, man. It's some real good players available. It's going to be interesting to see what the Lions decide to do. Yeah, some second round value out there. My biggest question is if the Lions are going to move around and try to get into the third round somehow. That's something I really feel like the Lions might try to do. Because, like I said, there's a pretty good, significant drop off after a certain point.
New head coach Joe Brady. Joe Brady's been an offensive coordinator in the league. The offensive coordinator.
What's going on? What's going on, fellas?
Championship team led by Joe.
Feeling much better. Feeling much better.
Any intel, insight on what you think the Bills might do?
Well, this is a team that came into the NFL draft switching to a 3-4
had to come on here and
after playing for many years.
at least stream for a little while. Don't nobody really ever want to stream on days 2 and 3, man. I definitely won't be doing it tomorrow, though. Got Pistons playoffs tomorrow, so you know how that goes.
They also need an off-ball linebacker, a guy that can be the quarterback.
But I'll be updating as it goes.
So the Bills about to make this selection. They were one of the teams that did not have a selection last night, so they'll make their first pick in this 2026 NFL draft, 35th overall, as the Bills try to follow up Josh Allen, maybe getting some type of help for him.
But to your point, when you change from a 4-3 to a 3-4 defense, you better have the right kind of guys to do it because it's a lot different in terms of what players need to be able to play those positions.
So the pick is in for the Bills, and we return to the podium. And all of a sudden, thought maybe for just a second that we'd have a little bit of a trade again. They said, hold on. Oh, no, now they're ready.
To announce the Buffalo Bills selection, please welcome from Penn State University, a three-time Pro Bowler and former Defensive Rookie of the Year, Shane Conley.
We got our first trade on the clock. The Texans are trading.
In the 2000.
Give me a second. Oh, they took T.J. Parker, the Bills.
Buffalo Bills select linebacker T.J. Parker from Clemson.
The Texans are trading with the Raiders. The Texans are trading up, and the Raiders are trading out for number 36.
Might go much higher in this draft. But as Nick and many others talk about it oftentimes, you just have to find the right spot. It's not where you start. It's how you be able to take advantage of that opportunity. And it does. You look at this, you see the things that T.J. Parker was able to do, particularly early in his career, maybe not quite as much productivity later. You're right about that. When you look at the
interesting name to keep an eye on, Caden McDonald. Caden McDonald.
I mean, 6'4", 263 pounds, runs a 4.6 in the 40, which is moving for his size. Watch him right here.
Caden McDonald is still available.
Beats the tackle, gets the sack. Guy reminds a lot of people of Trey Hendrickson. Destroyed guys.
Yeah, him and Christian Miller are probably the two of the only defensive tackles that I would even consider in a second round.
12 and a half tackles for loss. As a true sophomore, he forced 6 fumbles, got heavy hands. He's active. The big question is what didn't happen this past year, Coach? Really didn't put it together until the final game against South Carolina when he had 3 sacks. Wasn't a great offensive line. He finds his name called on night 2 as opposed to somewhere early in night 1.
What do y'all think the Lions going to do, man? What position? Put it in the comment section. What position you think the Lions go for with this second pick?
Good. I mean, sometimes guys have issues off the
Safety, edge.
I
think they go and get a fat guy?
One of the things
What you think they do?
To do is cook. Maybe he can cook something up for the Bills in that pass rush.
Lions are not about to trade Laporta.
College game day is built by the Home Depot. How doers get more.
Speaking of trades right now, it's a name that's heating up out there, and that's Kayvon Thibodeau. At first, they talking about they don't plan on trading them and all that. It was all smoke. They've been taking calls.
Pick your brand.
So Kayvon Thibodeau is a name that's out there. That's the Saints already made multiple calls over the last couple of months, but there's a couple of new teams kicking around the can right now to see if they're able to pull them away from New York.
Much more than Peyton Manning. I'm also motivating Manning. I want everyone here to know that you too can be so much more.
So I can be a chef.
Sure can. Marine biologist, follow your dream.
NFL quarterback.
Kind of a niche
upset, but I believe in you. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side.
What did you bring back from your last trip?
Me personally, I would go as far as a fourth. We got 2 fourth rounders. You can have one of them. There you go. Boom. Give me Kayvon. Like I said, the drop off in this draft. Yeah, you can have one of them fourths, bro. You just go on and let me get Kayvon for this fourth.
Does anything keep them from coming back?
Roundup dual action.
Does that say prevents?
This ain't the draft. You know what I'm saying? You pull some diamonds out of this draft at that point, man. You're the real deal. That's pretty much what I'm thinking. Edge, linebacker, combo, whatever you want to do, or possibly a defensive tackle. You need all three. I think somebody gonna snatch Caden McDaniels though, and it might be the Texans right here. They need some offensive linemen too, though, over there. Also, another edge a little bit later in the draft. That's why I said possibly in the third round to look at is one of our own hometown guys at Moore. Moore in the third round situation.
The Houston Texans selection. Please welcome versatile tight end and long Houston Texans, Billy Miller.
I'm joined by Billy Miller, original Houston Texans. Scored the first step for the Texans.
Oh man, thanks for joining the channel, bro. Appreciate you. Yep, there you go. Yep, I knew it. The Texans, man. The Texans just can't get the defense out of their blood, man. They just like the Ravens. The Texans are another team that will never protect the quarterback the way that they're supposed to. They just have too much defense in their blood, man. I would argue that they need offensive guards more than they need another defensive tackle. That's me personally, but you have these certain teams in the league, man, they just value defense over everything. They don't worry about saving the life of their quarterback. And that's why they never win. But that's the Texans. That's what's in their DNA. They got much more important positions of need.
My favorite part is being there is just giving back, doing gift cards, coloring, making food for kids and their families, interacting, making people laugh, and just being joyful around others. Hockey way bigger, They go to movie theaters so that every Saturday they watch my games and they just always come back to me when I go back. Be like, "Oh, I saw you on TV," and that just makes me so happy. And it's really just a support system. Every sack in TFL, I was going to donate $1,000, and after the season, I donated $12,000, and soon to be more.
So the Lions picking what? They're picking 17 again in the second round.
On stage with the commissioner, Roger Goodell. See how much it means to these guys. A lot of times I think when
I wonder where Jennings Dunker is going to end up going, man.
what is the investment emotionally in the sport? If you ever doubt that, have a look right there. What it means to Caden McDonald. He did grow up a huge Falcons fan. Went to games, face painted, Matt Ryan fan, all of that.
Yeah, that's 50 overall.
Now Houston Texans, and you know what? As good as the Texas defensive front was, they didn't really get on the inside, the pressure on the inside like they get Will Anderson, Daniel Hunter on the outside.
How are we supposed to block this defensive front now?
They just will not take it serious over there.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, K-Mac is a roadblock and an anchor inside. He is a great run defender. He's one of the hardest guys to block in this entire draft.
I mean, the Giants been doing a couple of solid little things, but they still got a ways to go. They still got a ways to go.
Now, the thing he's going to have to work on a little bit.
First of all, you got to see what you're going to get. First of all, you got to see how your running back going to come back after an injury like that. Your quarterback, you got to try to keep him safe. What good is having a good quarterback and you keep getting injured? I said some of these teams, they need to spam the offensive line button. Just keep on spamming it. Protect your quarterback. Protect your running back.
Long hug with the commissioner.
Make life easier.
It's emotional, man. I knew I was supposed to be here, and I'm just so blessed. I'm just so thankful. I'm just so emotional. Like, where I came from, now I'm here. It's a blessing.
It really is so fun to watch you experience this. You know that this Texans defense is a force to be reckoned with. How will you make a day one impact?
Disruptive, making it easier for the DN, and we all go together. We're going to work. I'm ready.
Thank you, Caden.
Appreciate it.
I'm really glad that K-Mac stayed in the green room and all that. But what players need to realize, if it's about what kind of career you have, you're actually better off to get drafted early in the second round than you are late in the first because they don't have a fifth-year option on you. You get the next contract fast. Yeah, and he talked about helping those DNs go to work, and you alluded to it briefly. Look, there are stats that they didn't get a lot of pressure, the Texans, from their interior defensive linemen. But boy, did they
Do they go and get a tackle here, the Giants? I would advise them to tackle, guard, something, offensive line.
McDonald, another Buckeye, the fifth by my count, to go already in the first 36 picks of this draft, and now the Giants, who selected twice in the first.
So Calvin Johnson is announcing the Lions pick.
To announce the New York Giants selection, please welcome two-time All-Pro, two-time Super Bowl champion.
Damn, man, I would love to got T.J. Parker, man. That'd have been nice.
I'm joined here by the great O.C. Yermanura. O.C. played for the Giants. What a great man he is. With the 37th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select
Colton Hood.
Defensive back, Tennessee. Way to go, Colton.
New era there for John Harbaugh with the New York Giants. They're making some productive so far. Colton Hood transferred to Tennessee from Colorado after starting his career at Auburn. He's a semifinalist for the Jim
So
that goes to the nation's top defensive back.
the medical reports on McCoy must not be the greatest. They must not be the greatest. Appreciate that.
He did bounce around a little bit in his college career. Auburn to Colorado and to Tennessee. Started all.
I wonder what stage he is when it comes to his recovery, because that is the only reason he's still on this board right now. I don't think teams are in the business of wanting to get a guy and probably possibly having to redshirt him his first rookie season in the league. So that's going to be interesting to see where he end up going.
When he's in the vicinity of the football, because of that explosive ability, he can get his hands on passes.
Yeah, guys, he likes to play press a lot. He's going to try to bully you. Has a nice punch, really good recovery speed. What I love about Hood is he's very, very physical. He has a lot of confidence.
Tennessee has some sticky one-on-one man coverage guys over there, period, though. Only thing with Colts and Hood is, man, I feel like you get a little too handsy at times. It's almost like what you see with Terrion Arnold, you know, and the penalty issues that he was having, being too handsy.
To announce the Las Vegas Raiders selection, please welcome a four-time Super Bowl champion, Pro Bowl linebacker from Penn State University and a Western PA native, Matt Miller. How you doing out there? It's great to be here. Let me just say, I would be remiss without bringing up the late, great Willie Brown when he would tell all of you to remember your mother on Mother's Day. It's coming right up. All you guys, take her to dinner, grab her some flowers, tell her you love her, and remind her that with the 38th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select
Braden Stooks.
Arizona. Wonder what the mothers would think if the Mother's Day card.
Another safety gone. Pick after that, the Browns are selecting Denzel Boston. Another receiver gone.
Guys who improved themselves greatly.
There's definitely, the way it's looking, there's definitely going to be some edge help there for the Lions if that's what they want to do.
This guy played a lot of stars. You see him there on the slot.
Safety room keep getting thinner and thinner. It was already thin, so unless you looking to take a look at some of the edges and move, like I said, move back into the third round.
But I actually really like the way this guy plays. You can see his footwork here, his change of direction. Intercepts the ball. He's got good hands. Yeah, coach, his safeties coach, Brett Arcee says he's diligent in his process and how hard he works. He set the standard not only for the DB room, but for the whole team and what it takes to be great and the effort required to get there. Dad published a self-improvement.
All right, so
really
reports the Detroit Lions are sniffing around to move up in the second round for one of the edge rushers. That's the report that's out there. Which that would make perfect sense at this point. Like at this point, if you don't go edge, or if you don't take something and then move up again into the third round, second round, third round again to get an edge, you playing in our face at this point.
Can I get a Bud Light? Sorry, the bar's not open yet. Oh, it's not for me. It's for the bride. She said, can I get the clean, crisp taste of Bud Light? Her words, not mine. She actually wants 3. She wants more of those deviled eggs, too.
Anyway, for the clean, crisp taste, the Bud Light. Now, at McDonald's, a McDouble is $2.50. So Miles, Jaden, and Carl have a pound. It's called McDouble.
Man, either Zion Young, like I said, you got Howell, you got Young, you got Jackus, you got Moore from Michigan. Yeah, there's some edges available. There's some edges. And to be honest, man, with a lot of these names that I'm naming, these guys can come in here and actually really help your edge rush. So, yeah. But it's just about the guy that they want, though. You know, Brad is going to go and get the guy that he wants. They lie in our face every single time and say that they go best player available. That's bull. They go and get the guy that they want, and he's made that known over and over again. Let me go get something to wipe this camera. Much better. Matter of fact, let me move this over. Move you over. Stop reflecting off my glasses. Much better. Just go and give me an edge rusher, Brad. Oh, they passed up a couple of guys to go and get Thomas, huh? 40th pick Chiefs are selecting Mason Thomas out of Oklahoma. Interesting. I feel like some of the other names ahead of him was a little bit better. Mason is a dog, though. He is a dog, though.
All-pro cornerback and key defensive leader Joe Hayden.
They need to speed the picks up, man.
Yo, hello. What's up, Pittsburgh?
They do this every time, bro. You know, it ain't nothing new. It ain't nothing new, bro. CBS is the most unaware of anything sports ever. I've never seen a network be so wrong in anything. All their mock drafts are wrong. Everything is always wrong with CBS. They're horrible.
Celebrating with his family, Denzel Boston on his way to the Browns. Yeah, guys, 2-year starter, elite ball skills, average 14 yards.
That I don't know.
In the FBS. Well, really impressive. I talked to this coach, Jed Fish. He said he was in a room full of.
It's horrible, man. I don't even know how they still exist in the sports universe, at least.
He trusted his development, waited for his time, and when he got his opportunity, he had a lot of confidence. Took over, guys. And see what he's able to do on the field here.
Yeah, 6'3", just over 200 pounds. Big question mark, of course, was the long year for Denzel Boston. But over these past few years, when he got a chance to play a meaningful role for Washington, he became their best red receiving touchdowns. I like some of the big slot ability as well, Coach. A guy who's a big-time factor in the red zone.
Look, this is
Here we go. It's a run on edge rushers, Brad. Come on, bro. You can move up. Like, you can find a trade partner. Bengals at 41 is taking Cassius Howe. Like, hurry up and get something, dog. Like, hey, sitting around holding our damn fingers, man.
To announce the Kansas City Chiefs selection, please welcome from the University of Pittsburgh, two-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle and former NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year, Bill Maher.
Hello, Pittsburgh, and hail to Pitt. With the 40th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select R. Mason Thomas, defensive end, Oklahoma.
So R. Mason Thomas with the celebrations. You might be wondering, so what does the R stand for? It turns out it's just very regal, erudite sounding name. And on his mother's side of the family, there were a lot of men.
Man, it might not be no edges left messing around with Brad Holmes, bro.
Wanted to carry on the tradition, so just R, just plain old R. He's not a plain old player, Nick. He can cause some havoc on the edge.
R. Mason can do just that. I think maybe size-wise, but this guy's got lots of power. He's got explosive quickness. He can get the edge, which you see him do here. He's a good pass rusher. He can turn speed to power. But for his size, the guy really plays the run well as well because he's got really good power. You see him right here taking on the block, getting off the block. I really like this guy.
I'm with you, Coach. I had him inside my top 25 players in the entire draft. He's full tilt all the time over the past.
Oh my God! I'm just seeing this just pissed me off, man.
He actually got hurt, returning a fumble for a touchdown score in the middle of this past season. Kansas City was looking for guys to help out this pass rush. What they had is a couple of steady eddies like George Karloftis off the edge.
As bang, as bang.
Great speed for our Mason.
Our Mason is switched up, explosive speed rusher, does a very good job converting speed.
That just pissed me off all over again.
In his resume, he used to be a running back in high school. He said that's giving him the ability to use that speed and get past defensive tackle. Get past offensive tackles. So our Mason Thomas is the Kansas City Chiefs' first time since 2018. The Chiefs have used their first 3 picks in any draft all on defense. They're going to try to focus on that side of the ball again.
Christian Miller is gone. There's your other defensive tackle.
Please welcome NFL Most Valuable Player in 1981, 4-time Pro Bowler and longtime franchise quarterback Cam Anderson.
Today, Cincinnati! With the 41st pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Cassius Howell, defensive end, Texas A&M. Well, Cassius Howell finished first 3 seasons at Bowling Green and then transferred to College Station. He was a first-team All-American and the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. That's the first one for Texas A&M since they joined the SEC in 2012. Well, this guy is a real speed rusher. I mean, he really has speed off the edge. I really like him. And he's got some pass rush moves. I mean, the guy can change direction. He can open his hips. He's got a great spin move. I think the one thing he struggles with a little bit, he's probably going to be a better outside backer than the defensive end. He does drop. He can't play man-to-man. You see the speed up there, but he'll struggle to be a defensive end because
The Lions not making any movement says to me that they about to pick somebody out of the ordinary, bro. They feel like their guy is going to be there, and their guy is nobody that anybody's thinking about. It's another smartest guy in the room type of ordeal. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
It's not a bad journey here for Cassius Howell, which leads him back to the state of Ohio. Began his college career at Bowling Green. He eventually entered the Texas A&M SEC Defensive Player of the Year, now a second-round pick.
Saints about to make a
To
selection.
announce the New Orleans Saints selection, please welcome from Harris, Pennsylvania, Super Bowl champion and New Orleans Saints Hall of Fame Marquez Colston.
With the 42nd pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Christian Miller, D-tackle, Georgia.
So the Bulldogs, who have put plenty of defenders into the NFL of late, they had another one with Christian Miller. His freshman season, he played behind Jalen Carter of the Eagles. He certainly became a guy who was a force in the middle of that Kirby Smart defense. Brother, Christian Miller is really here to me because he can play the run, he can two-gap. He's probably a better one-gap penetrator, but he's a really, really good taking on blocks, getting off blocks, tough, physical, has twitch, has a motor, plays with toughness. I really like this guy. He can run well. Pass rush has not been his thing so far, but that's something I think he can develop.
And I think part of that, coach, is just
You got 3 edges.
over a course of 43 games played. He logged 1,041 snaps.
You got Gabe out of Illinois, you got Zion, and you got Moore. Those are 3 of the edges that still left.
Very stout run defender. I think more upside. I agree with coach's assessment there on Miller at the NFL level.
Says his life goal is
Not really much out there at defensive tackle left.
His artistic side.
At least worth taking right now at 50.
My nickname, I go by as person. My hidden talent, I probably say music, like singing, doing R&B and stuff like that. Christian, he football, he crazy, he a little, but person, he more the mirror. I make shit, ladies, for the guys, with their lady. My love for music comes from just being in the church at a young age. My dad had us in the church. You know, I either play the drums, sing, mine, and it mean the world to me. my ninth grade year, and I broke my leg. I was so obsessive about football.
Hey, another actual real serious franchise made a trade again. The Cowboys are trading for the 49ers linebacker Winters. Saint, draft picks, but somebody trying to do something with their defense.
Tell me that I'm always going go. EP coming real soon. You can do anything that you want to do.
I'm wondering if I'm gonna hear Kayvon Thibodeau tonight.
When it's time to add my son to our car insurance, I'm scared to even think about my wallet. But instead, with Drive Easy on the Geico app, my son's safe driving score saved us even more.
We might take McNeil Warren if we don't go edge. We might take McNeil Warren. I keep telling people, stop passing up on Toledo defenders, man. I think it's well known and solidified that they produce dogs in Toledo for some reason when it comes to the defensive back department. But he's still available.
Yes, I have been. Thank you. Bottomless apps for $9.99. During the off season.
And like I said, the safety room ain't large either. So that's your options. You can take Emmanuel McNeil Warren, or you can get an edge. Brad. The Dolphins took a linebacker. They took Jacob Rodriguez. So I wonder who we moving up here to get. We traded up to number 44. So they must have felt like somebody's going to go and get their guy. But thank you, Brad Holmes, for actually being alive during this draft.
Welcome a five-time All-Pro, Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year, and Pro Football Hall of Dwight Stevenson.
So we traded 50 and 128 to move up to 44.
All right. Hello, everyone, football fans out there. With the 43rd pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker, Texas Tech.
There's the celebration for the guy who was the most decorated defensive player in college football last year, won the Bednarik Award that goes to the top defensive player, the Buck which goes top linebacker, among others. He was just tremendous.
So we are officially on the clock.
In Hard Rock Stadium, home of the Dolphins. That didn't go the way he had hoped in the game against Oregon, but he'll have plenty of opportunities after this. And what about this? He was a dual threat quarterback coming out of high school. Only Caleb Williams and J.J. McCarthy first.
All right.
And now he's a great linebacker. Yeah,
thank you, Aaron Glenn.
he should have been a Heisman finalist. Served the trip to New York. By the way,
Help
he
us,
played this
Aaron.
right
Help us
there.
out, Aaron
You're
Glenn.
running from quarterback, and coach, I said, why would you go from middle linebacker? Maybe safety. He said because the linebacker is the quarterback of the defense, and I love getting my guys in position to make plays. He's the guy who's a ball hawk. I think he's going to be fantastic at the next level.
I agree. 7 fumbles, 4 interceptions this year. This guy's a really good athlete. He can run. He is very, very instinctive. Little undersized, but the guy makes a lot of plays, and he's great in coverage.
I'll say this, and I mean this with no hyperbole. From the start of the beginning of last season, all through the pre-draft process, I don't think anybody did more for themselves than Jacob Rodriguez. Fernando Mendoza earned that during the college football season. He didn't even need to go to the combine. He was going number 1.
Oh! Oh!
Great defender.
Oh!
But not even the best defender in his
Hell to the hey! We are taking more from Michigan, baby. We are staying at the crib. Yes, sir. I gotta pull my old archives from one of my videos. Said, man, what if we got more from Michigan? I gotta pull that video archive, man, and upload that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey. All right, Brad. Yes, Brad. Yes, Brad.
Jacob Rodriguez is there, selected by the Miami Dolphins. Jacob, congratulations. Thanks for spending some time with us. What you knew this moment was going
Yes, sir, Brad. We got an edge rusher, baby. It's gonna be fun breaking this one down too, man, because some of the matchups, even though we didn't have the season that we wanted to at Michigan when we played a couple of the big teams, Moore was out there whooping ass. So it's gonna be a fun one to break down right here. Brad stayed at the crib and went and got more. Wow. Wow. Oh, man. Hell to the motherfucking victors. Moore's a dog, man. Dog. I need us to move up again. I want more. I want more. I want more, man. I want more than more. Let's go, Brad. All right.
with Jacob because the Lions took Derek Moore, an edge from Michigan.
You know they have to go. You know they got to do the annual commercial when we make our selection. You know how they do that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
I don't remember that. Blake, you already know. Thanks, Ted. Wow. Wait, you a magician?
Edge rusher. I gotta stay on here though, man. I gotta stay on here because I just don't know. New report: the Giants have no plans to trade Kayvon Thibodeau until the right person call. Oh, we don't need him now. So I'm solid. Thank you, Brad Holmes. Finally. Thank you, Brad Holmes. For finally doing something that makes sense. Well, that's 2 days straight now. You've done something that makes sense. So, okay. I'll give it. I'll leave you alone. I said this year's draft, you gotta be on point. So I can't even argue. I ain't got nothing to say. I ain't got nothing to say. Michigan fans, what are we getting? A dog. We are getting a dog, man. Don't let that record for Michigan fool you last season. We knew that was a reclamation project season right there. But like I said, when I do the breakdown video, most likely tomorrow, I'm gonna do it like I did for Blake Miller. But I'm gonna put some clips on there to show y'all better than I can tell y'all. More up against top tier talent in college. Was whooping ass this year. So yeah, it's gonna be fun making that video for y'all. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man. I'm gonna have to pause this stream for about 2 to 3 minutes. I don't want to take the stream all the way down. I'm gonna have to pause it for about 5 minutes. And get myself together, get this cough under control and stuff.
This the hospitality y'all got for your boy.
Okay. Yeah, so all right, so I'm gonna step away for a minute. If you guys stick around, I appreciate it if you do, but I'm gonna step away for a minute, and I'll be back in about 2 to 3 minutes. And we'll continue with this draft because I just feel like the Detroit Lions could possibly move again. In the meantime, just hold tight for me. All right, we back. For all 62 of y'all that stayed. Appreciate y'all.
Perhaps the best element of it was the way that they deployed Jeremy Bernard, a real factor in the middle of the field.
Let me refresh this right quick.
Actually being aligned in the backfield or playing from the slot. Not a really explosive guy. Never had a catch of even 50 yards.
I only use some of them late rounders, Brad, and get McNeil Warren.
Consistent guy out there in the slot and out wide. I love him as a wide out. Might not have made a 50-yard play. Not many dudes made a catch like that last one we just saw. Either he is now in Pittsburgh Steelers.
I can't wait to hear what the Lions say about the Derek Morris situation. I think I wonder if the Senior Bowl thing, it's gonna be interesting to see what they say. But the reason why I was talking about it was, like I said, obviously we watch him up close, but almost also the Senior Bowl situation, right? So where you seen him on tape in the Senior Bowl whooping people's behind. So yeah. That's gonna be dope to see him and Hutch, man. They are talking mad smack on Twitter. Some of my Michigan State buddies. Like, oh, I bet you are happy. What we doing next, y'all? What's going on, Domino? Appreciate the super chat, bro. He kept it simple this year. Cool with the Pixie. On it. Yes. Yeah. Kept it simple, man. Like I said, he's simply just making some picks that make sense, man, and that fit, what we trying to do. Simple. You know what I'm saying? Simple. I'm glad I was wrong what I was saying earlier. I kept saying, I hope I'm wrong. I'm glad I was wrong. Because I was like, man, don't go and try to be the smartest guy in the room, bro. Just go and get an edge, bro, that it makes sense. And you had one right here in your backyard. Just keep it simple, Brad. I know y'all got my live stream playing in the war room. Keep it simple, Brad. Give me a call at any time.
Now await the selection made by the Atlanta Falcons, 48th pick overall.
To announce the Atlanta Falcons selection, please welcome.
The only thing that I hate about the draft, man, it just reminds me of how freaking long the football offseason is about to be, man. We got to wait so long. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I represent Atlanta, but we're both up the rise up, baby. And to my no-go family at home watching, I see y'all out there too. Now let's get down to business. With the 48th pick in 2006 the Atlanta Falcons select from the bloodline, Avion Terrell, DB Clemson.
You did all of that like you were saying something, bro.
Terrell's brother, AJ Terrell, is a cornerback for the
athletic family. They'll continue the tradition in Atlanta. Terrell family, ton of athletic prowess.
Another trade. Panthers are on the clock at number 49. Traded with Minnesota. Minnesota.
NFL draft, and now they will be together on the field in an NFL secondary. Avion Terrell, Avion's a really, really good player to me. Plays best probably when he plays nickel, which I call star. He's aggressive. He plays with toughness. He's got really good feet, change of direction, good balance and body control, which gives him really good coverage instincts. He's a good man-to-man player. He's one of my favorites.
Detroit Lions.
Tough, ball guy, gets after it. Very similar to his brother.
Yeah, he is. He's just smaller, right? That's probably the big hindrance here, which makes it the potential to play nickel at the NFL level. This past season, he was a ball disruptor, though. What he lacks in size, he makes up for with instincts. And at the point of attack, he packs a bigger punch than his body weight would suggest. I kind of an unusual situation during the pre-draft process, the hamstring injury that he had.
Waka waka wow.
Scouts to run the 40 times. He injured that injury trying to run. One of the reasons why he fell to the middle of the second round, Desmond, there was talk about him being a potential first round.
Yes, brother AJ said that he has the confidence of a daredevil.
We need one.
That way. Very talkative guy, very hyper, and gets the crowd going, gets his teammates going too. I'd be surprised to see a cornerback, defensive back, or nickel back.
I almost want to put corner in front of tight end.
Reserve. Yeah, guys don't talk much. Those guys, I thought there was some talk about him being speed deficient, but I didn't see any.
I don't even want to see the offensive side of the ball again right now.
Pro day that had scouts close. Not really needed to run a 40 during that private pro day to confirm what kind of player he was on tape. Very competitive player. Things didn't go great, of course, for Clemson this past season, but he was one of the bright spots for that defense that had some up plays that perhaps were a bit more underwhelming compared to preseason expectations.
We had a number of moves in round one.
Oh.
Up and down the board. And we just had another one for the next selection.
Man, I just need some good food now.
49 overall pick. The Panthers got help up front.
Anybody got the score up for that Boston and 76ers game? Keep tabs on that for the Pistons fans in here.
Second round, 49 overall. The safety, wide receiver, Lieutenant McMillan was a great pickup for them last year in the draft to help Bryce Young, maybe an edge rusher. See what direction the Panthers go here as we return to the podium with picking the Carolina Panthers.
To announce the Carolina Panthers selection, please welcome Panthers Hall of Honor inductee and owner of the longest touchdown pass in Super Bowl history, Jake Dello.
Okay.
Good evening, Pittsburgh. With the 49th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the reigning NFC South champions, Carolina Panthers, select Lee Hunter, nose tackle, Texas Tech. Keep pounding.
There's Lee Hunter.
There's a third defender from that Red Raider defense to be selected in the first two rounds of the draft. This is a big fella. There's 33 and a half tackles for loss in 2023. Fittingly, nicknames the Fridge. Maybe in the footsteps of William the Refrigerator Perry, the legendary Bear. He started his career at Auburn, transferred to UCF, where former Auburn coach Gus Malzahn was then the head coach, and then last year went to Texas Tech. And look at his beautiful little daughter, Kaylee, 5-year-old daughter. It's motivated for him. Hunter had a great season at Texas Tech, and now is going to Carolina. If you evaluate defensive tackles on hard to block, this guy's number one. I mean, this guy's strong, very physical, has initial quickness and explosive power, can strike out of his hip. And he, a lot of people said he had a bad body at the combine. Yeah. I mean, what's the tape? It's crazy.
Yeah, scouting is not about one game, but everybody has their eyes in the college football playoff, and the best player on the field against Oregon in that game against Texas Tech was Lee Hunter. That really stamped his status as a potential pick. He slides right inside number 49.
So Lee Hunter selected, and the New York Jets scheduled to make the next pick after taking 3 players last night back to Pittsburgh in a bit.
Depot with that spring Black Friday savings and all your appliance answers.
I want something to simplify my
Fit everything that you need, bro. You know what I'm saying? I would say this. One of the knocks on Moore was, I would say, his size. We've heard that scenario plenty of times. The Detroit Lions passed up on the player because of the size thing, named Micah Parsons, too. You know what I'm saying? Not saying he's Micah Parsons, but I say when it comes to these measurables and all of this clown stuff, man, I really, I'm not in the business of that crap. Even when Aiden Hutchinson came out, they was talking about his arms were short. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I do with that whatever you will, but as far as being able to get in that backfield and cause some problems, I think he's definitely going to be able to do that for the Lions, especially with Aiden Hutchinson on the other side. And we, like I said, we just need to go and get somebody else in that middle. We still need somebody else in that middle. Alim McNeil, here's the thing with Alim McNeil, right? We got Tyleik Williams. Tyleik was never the pocket pressure type of defensive tackle. That's not what he is. Alim McNeil, I feel like, is a little bit too lean. I think he's lost a little bit too much weight, and I think he's lost power. But also there's been some rumblings about the Detroit Lions trying to move him around on the defensive line and let him be flexible. So that's probably where that's coming from. But I still think we need another fat guy in the middle. It's at some point in this draft. Yeah, Aaron Donald too. Yeah, you always hear these just nerd stuff. You know what I'm saying? Oh, his arms are short, or it's just measurables and all this crap, bro. Combine numbers and all this stuff. Like, these dudes are not track athletes or anything of that such or sort. What speaks to me the most is game tape, watching the actual games live. And when I watched him play, I instantly was in the business of, hey, the Lions need to take a look at him. The Lions need to take a look at him. And obviously we were. So that's a positive for me.
Draft coverage continues on Saturday, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on ESPN, ABC, and the NFL Network. Rounds 4 through 7. See it on ESPN, the 450 Plus, Hulu, ESPN app. Listen to it on ESPN Radio. Anywhere you want to consume the draft, we have it for you. The Jets about to make their next pick, and man, they did great work in the first round last night. Let's see what they get next.
To announce the New York Jets selection, please welcome Offensive Rookie of the Year from the University of Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh native and Pro Football Hall of Famer Curtis Martin.
Listen, I grew up in a little town not too far from here called Homewood. And so I just want to take a brief moment to thank many of you in this crowd tonight, but the entire city of Pittsburgh for all of the love and support that you've given me throughout my career. Thank you. And with the 50th pick of the 2026 NFL,
give me a second, y'all.
The New York Jets select
I'm coming.
Angelo Pons, DB from Indiana.
Hines was the defensive MVP in the Rose Bowl, the Peach Bowl during their run to the 2025 National Championship. And now the last 2 picks for the Jets have been from the national champion Indiana Hoosiers. All 4 of their picks in this draft from teams that made the college football playoff, perhaps trying to instill a winning culture here. D'Angelo Pons started his career, James Madison, with Kurt Signetti and moved with him to Bloomington.
Some people believe one of the better players on a pound-for-pound basis in the NFL draft. Just not a lot of pounds to work with for D'Angelo Pons. We had an excellent season for the Hoosiers this past year. Played often on the perimeter and did often draw the best assignment from their top-tier competition. Size is going to be the big determinant at the NFL level. Is he going to be able to hang with some of these bigger, twitchier, perimeter wide receivers? He's going to have an interesting tutor, though.
Okay.
It's a good. Hey, I'm telling you, this guy is a great football player. I know he might not be very big, but Kirk Signetti said one of the best football players I've ever coached. This guy can tackle. He has movement skills. He's instinctive.
We need defensive tackle and safety.
There's nothing bad you can say about him. Other
We
than
need
the fact that
just defensive back, period.
Yeah, but how
And another tackle. The last thing on my list right now is tight end.
they renamed the pond after that pick six and the semifinal retention pond. D'Angelo's pond. Wow.
Appreciate it, Dominique. Off top, King.
Even at a young age, he was very competitive, not just in sports, but academics too. He was put in advanced classes in elementary school. She said this guy always loved when people would talk about his size.
Huh.
He uses his energy as fuel.
You know what?
He says, my technique.
You got an interesting point there.
He just might have a point. They sure might. I think
You got an interesting point there. That just may be.
I think D'Angelo would be a great football star. He reminds me of Mike Stanley that came from Michigan a couple of years ago. Right around that range as well. Yeah. Minnesota Vikings about to make the next selection.
To announce the Minnesota Vikings selection, please welcome.
You know, I'm gonna talk about that too.
From the University of Pittsburgh.
Like I said, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna talk about that.
With the 51st pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Jake Golday, linebacker, Cincinnati. Welcome, brother.
Did McNeil Warren? Did he kidnap somebody's child or something? Like what is going on, bro? Why is he still? Yeah, and you know what? Yeah. Boy, the politics, man. I still do too. I don't care what nobody say. I think more Tuck than Moore. I think Moore just let his pipe get him in trouble. But I think all the extraness was added on to it though. And I think she was planted there to get the snake, get the snake to bite. Which the snake still bit. Thank you. Babe. Which the snake still bit, but yeah, I think more Tuck though. Anything was a set up type of thing. That was straight up set up. I usually don't want to give Michigan State fans sympathy, but that just bro. The math just wasn't mathing with that, man. Oh man.
Insurance and financial services. I get emotional. The acronyms that include Nationwide.
Dinner.
For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side.
Oh.
There's going out to eat, and then there's going all out with fun. Be among the first to know. Tables open on Resi. Already notified. Make the most of up to $400 in Resi credit by sampling the menu over and over again. And show your friends what all about with Platinum Nights. With dining benefits at over 10,000 U.S. Resi restaurants. There's nothing like Platinum. Official payments partner of the NFL.
Like I said, here's the thing. This is where I separate, even if it's wrongdoing or not on both sides. You have to, I forgot to move this light over here. You have to be smart and you have to be diligent and you got to keep your mind focused on God. I'll say that because you have to understand that when you get into the business of making money at a high level in these high ranking places, colleges, places, things like that. Number one, you already have a microscope on you because of this, right? But at the same time, anytime you're in a money game like that, you have to be smart and diligent, and you cannot allow yourself to get put in these situations. You have to be smart enough to cut the head off the snake before it even bites you. You see what I'm saying? You can't put yourself in the way. You can't even give it a chance at all. There's always a microscope on you. You got to be smarter than that. So whether it was wrongdoing or not, with any of the situations, you have to make sure you put yourself in the best position. I know if I'm going anywhere to be a Michigan coach or on the staff or anything else, I don't want to talk to nobody behind the scenes unless it's about the team or football. Get out of my face. Me and my family life is private. I'm not out here fishing, because sometimes even though you catch the fish and throw it back in the sea, you still got the smell on you. You still got that fishy smell on you. You got to be smarter than that. You got to be smarter than that. So that's what frustrates me the most with those dudes, man. You being given a specific opportunity, be smart. Yep. Yep. Because if these other coaches can come in and do it, you can too.
The Green Bay Packers selection. Please welcome from Shippensburg University of Pennsylvania, three-time Pro Bowler, two-time All-Pro.
Yeah. Yep. You're absolutely right, Damo. You got two microscopes on you when you look like us. This is Michigan. This is the University of Michigan that we talk about.
And the millions of Packer fans across the world.
Get off the stage, cheesehead.
In the 2026 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Brandon Cisse, defensive back, South Carolina.
No, Mr. Cheesehead. That might well be a prayer that's answered, because the Packers secondary only had 7 interceptions last year. That was 5th fewest in the league. So little does he know. That might be exactly what he needed with Brandon Cisse, the cornerback from South Carolina. He grew up wanting to play for the Gamecocks, ended up having to start his career at North Carolina State. Transferred, got to live out a lifelong dream being a South Carolina Gamecock. And some of his teammates nicknamed him Glitch because of the sudden burst and burst speed he can play.
Yeah, 3-year player at the collegiate level. You mentioned the beginning of his career at NC State, finished up at South Carolina for just one season. Another guy, we talked about this a little while ago. We were discussing Colton Hood, who went 37th to the Giants. Closest athlete is Brandon Cisse. I did feel like this is a guy who's got to be a little bit more disciplined with his hands at the top of routes. Gets a little bit crabby. He is going to affect the running game. He had 6 tackles, rather 0 or negative yardage this past season in the running game. He's a factor there.
Yeah, he's physical. He said himself that his best attribute just might be his tackling. So you hit it right on the head with that one, Gates. NFL legends making selections for the stage of Pittsburgh, and one of the greatest punters.
It don't even feel like Friday.
To announce the Indianapolis Colts selection. Please welcome two-time Pro Bowl punter and Pittsburgh native, Matt Devine.
I see this big old horse pill I'm taking.
Are you Yinzers getting exhausted from so much football celebration?
Don't look that big, but it's big. Doggone amoxicillin. But it got my throat and stuff to stop hurting. Like I said, I cough and stuff a little bit because when I get to talking or whatever, I do still have some dry spots in my throat. But yeah, it's working. It might smell like a sack full of a copper or pennies when you use a bathroom, but it works.
Daniel Jones is torn Achilles. Michael Pittman got sent to the Steelers, and in return, we got football.
Why you always gotta be so extra, bro? Get off the stage.
AFC South Kings, Indianapolis Colts select CJ Allen, linebacker from Georgia. Go Dogs. Have a great night.
Our college game day partner, Pat McAfee.
Yeah, so that's gonna be interesting, man, because when you look at it in our case, I don't know how we gonna be. The Detroit Lions are rumored to have one of the easiest schedules in the NFL, which means the Lions could probably do some things this season. So as far as the top side of that draft, man, I don't know. I haven't even took an opportunity to look at the capital that we have available, let alone some of it that we might acquire. But like I said, eventually you're gonna have to trade somebody. A lot of people think it's gonna be Laporta. Somebody got to go. Everybody can't stay. You got some decisions to make if you Brad Holmes. What I'm interested to ask y'all, and this is a conversation that I have with my brothers, man, in the group chats and everything else. Jared Goff. Before you know it, it's gonna be time with Jared Goff. Do you think Jared Goff gets another contract here in Detroit? Me personally, I don't. So I don't know, man.
Member of the Philadelphia Eagles and College Football Hall of Fame, Brian Westbrook.
With 54th pick of the 2026 NFL Draft, the two-time champions and reigning NFC East champions, Philadelphia Eagles select Eli Stowers, tight end from Vanderbilt University.
Let's go! So the Eagles have another receiver to go with Makai Lemon, who they picked last night. Stowers, a tight end, but
Well, see, that's the thing that the Detroit Lions never take serious. We never go out and draft a guy, bro. We never go out and draft a guy. That's my biggest problem with this franchise in general. We never go. You see what the Rams just did, right? The Rams ain't bullshitting around. Even though Sean McVay didn't like it, their GM did what their GM needed to do. They went and got a quarterback that's next up when Matthew Stafford decides to call it quits. They say, we're not going to sit here and wait around and be up in the air, and then you just say, okay, I'm retiring, and now we scramble and look for a quarterback. No, we just drafted one. That's the type of attitude that real franchises have. And I wish that the Detroit Lions would take that serious and get somebody to start developing behind Jared Goff. Because Jared Goff has to understand that it's a business too. And you want all this money, you want to get paid. Well, you have to understand that you most likely ain't going to be here after this contract. Since it's such a business and you want your money, it's nothing personal. Obviously, we took a chance to swing for the fences with you, brung you here when nobody else wanted you here. So it ain't personal. It's business. We got to go out and draft somebody. And it's coming up fast. It's sneaking up fast, man.
Everywhere you go with Mary Convoy shapes you, making you the greatest souvenir of all. Explore our entire world of hotel brands and experiences.
If you're waiting for a traditional liver transplant, you may miss moments like these. Nearly a quarter of patients waiting won't survive long enough to receive it. The living donor transplant offers another way forward. UPMC performs more living donor liver transplants than any other program in the country. And that experience means more life-changing outcomes, more memories, far less waiting.
All right, that's out the way.
Sounds familiar? At Mattress Firm, we understand there are many problems in snoring that can keep you up at night. Experts have the training, know-how, and tools to match you with a perfect sleep system designed to help. Like the Temper Ergo Smart Base. It automatically detects, responds.
So at some point, you're going to start to see some of these franchises get impatient in that third round and say, man, look, I'm not trying to wait till tomorrow. Let's move up and go get our guy.
In life and business.
Hopefully one of those two.
That exception, Lisa, Gabe. Whatever goal you're
Nope. Worst team in the NFL will be getting Arch Manning. One of the worst teams.
I didn't want the song to end.
Monday, Idol celebrates Taylor Swift music. It's the hopeful singer greatest hits live. That was a drop the mic moment. And the judges
Obviously, a lot of eyeballs around the league are going to be on Underwood this season. This is the season where we expect Underwood to really establish himself. He should be out of that prison called Jerome Moore and his staff. Boy, I couldn't stand that offense for the last 5 years. It just, oh boy, the most boring offense ever. Thank goodness we had two good running backs. I want to go back to the Michigan days where we slung that thing down the field.
Free, undefended freedom on land nasty with courage and sacrifice.
Airmen preserve that freedom and own the skies.
For 250 years, soldiers have answered the call, winning independence and preserving it. Sailors project America's strength across every ocean around the world. On a new frontier, Guardians defend what keeps our republic secure. Since 1941, the USO has supported service members and their families at home and abroad.
I said that forever when Matthew Stafford was here.
See you in Pittsburgh.
Forget who gets offended, bro. Go and get somebody. Especially when Matthew Stafford first got drafted. And I was like, we never have a solid backup. I wasn't talking about drafting one at that time, just a solid backup in general.
The New England Patriots select Gabe Ackes.
Up there's Gabe Ackes.
Gabe Ackes had 11 sacks, second in Big Ten last year. The J in his name is silent. His game is very loud. A lot of it is built on his expertise and prowess as a two-time Florida State wrestling champion at Fort Pierce Central High School. He says field, it helps shape his mentality.
He's got some wrestler in his game as well, Reese. This guy takes defending the run as serious as he does rushing.
I just said that.
In
in that Blake Miller video. Players that play in the trenches, man, with wrestling backgrounds, yeah, they know how to win with their hands.
He got some help from a name that I know Coach Saban's familiar with, Joe Kim, longtime pass rushing tutor, was with Illinois this past season, helped Gabe become a great player.
I think Gabe is
Look at that, good hand fighting.
He's a relentless competitor in terms of the way he plays with great effort and toughness. I think he's going to be a good edge. Does he play outside back or defensive end? That's the question.
Joe Kim was the guy that Belichick.
Hands and leverage, baby. When you combine those two together, I call it ass whoop. Does that player have enough ass whoop?
Now he's with Ohio State. Good news for the Buckeyes. The future pass rush to help replace guys like our Hillary.
We've got our great crew, the Colts coming out here. We're up to date on all of the things that we need here. So Gabe Hackett, the last guy selected.
I wouldn't put nothing past Howard.
The Jacksonville Jaguars make a pick.
The way that he ran to the rescue tonight was, I mean, last night was crazy. How are your dog in the front office, man? You know, I'm probably sure y'all know how I feel about it. Man, he's a dog in office. And you light that. He'll light that cigar, man, and get to work, bro. I can't do nothing but respect it. Don't tell him what he can't do. What up, Doe? Yes, sir. It's just insane, man.
Let's be clear. The Jaguars are drafting this player, betting on the upside being better than what we have seen at the collegiate level.
Howie is a dog, man. One thing that the Eagles always gonna have is a dog defense, bro. That is one thing they always gonna have, bro.
Four Aggies have been drafted, and he just got engaged to his high school sweetheart months ago, too.
Introducing Gatorade Lower Sugar. No artificial colors, no artificial flavors, no artificial sweetness.
Like I said, what good is sustainability if you ain't going for it? I said the same thing with the Pistons. With Trajan Langdon is past trade deadline this year. What good is sustainability when you have an opportunity in front of you to win?
Into anyone.
He's still available. Oh, he is still available. Like I said, I'm not sure if we're gonna move back up today. We still in the damn second round, man.
It's actually
Potential to help protect your life. Who's your
See, Brad Holmes approaches draft, right? Draft and pay your guys. Howie's is draft, trade, make more trades, and make more trades. Sign guys in free agency. That's the difference. Brad is just draft guys, pay your guys, and then get some bottom feeders to try to fill in the holes. Howie, I love you, but you got to go. I got to make some trades. That's the difference in mentality. Hell, you seen it when they even dangled Jalen Carter out there for a second. If he feel like he can get better, he's gonna do it, bro. Ain't no personal relationships. He got to this summer, bro. You can't mess around this summer. Especially you talking about paying Jalen Durham, bro. Yeah. Why other guys are still up under rookie contracts and stuff, you got to make your move now. Because when you look at that contract situation, eventually somebody gonna have to go that we like.
Have a moment. Let's check in with Pete Thamel. Pete, injury concern, is that the only reason, the only situation of why Jermod McCoy is yet to be taken?
Reese, that's exactly it. The biggest question hanging over front offices tonight would be, where does Jermod McCoy get drafted? He's coming off that ACL tear, January of 2025. Obviously, didn't play this season. He's been projected.
Oh man, listen. What? What? What?
This injury, how medical staffs are reading the imaging of this injury is going to determine where teams pick him. We're about to hit the point, guys, where the risk of taking Jermod McCoy may be some reward. Remember, his 2024 film was the best of any corner in this draft. So maybe he'll be the seventh guy picked. It would have to be a secure front office that takes this risk.
Nick, you're the guy who has lived this more than anybody else. You start evaluating risk.
Yeah, but what's up with Emmanuel McNeil Warren, bro? That's what I want to know.
It's one of the most difficult things we ever had to deal with. What does the medical staff say? Because as coaches, you always want to take the best player, and your thought is he'll get better, it won't be a problem. But sometimes it is, and you have to respect the fact that the owner's paying money for this guy, and he better be able to perform and produce. And if not, it's a bad investment, and you got to take into account the relative investment versus the risk that you're taking a guy as to whether he's going to be able to play or not.
All right, so we'll probably talk about that a little bit more tonight. Those owners will wait to see which before Tennessee is taken. The Chicago Bears will make the next selection, especially pick.
Yep. Those are two of the obvious pieces that you got to keep. And guys like Asar will never demand a lot of money because he's strictly a defensive player. So you'll be able to keep him around for a long time.
I'm liking those cheese grater hats, my man. Grate that cheese right up. I love it. With the 57th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Logan Jones, center, Iowa.
And a big round of offensive linemen in round one, with 9 of them being taken. This won't be the last Iowa offensive.
Where y'all think Taylor Decker gonna end up going? I don't think he's gonna retire. He might retire. He might not want to play for another team. I just don't want him going nowhere near Ben Johnson, bro. Stay from over there. Brad is live right now.
week, and then playing the game, and you can it's a lot of stories that you can get from it. There's some smaller school developmental guys that have rough days at the start of the week, and they kind of get better and then have a good games. And not everybody plays in the game. There's some guys that a lot of guys opt out and they play the whole game. I mean, I think that says a lot. But Derek, I don't think he played in the game, but his practices were really, really good. But I knew for him, what he showed was not only did he really show that he was an improved pass rusher, not just outside on the edge. He can sub rush too, which is very intriguing about him as well. I think that was a very underrated component of his game. But I thought he did a nice job proving at the Senior Bowl versus the top competition that he's a real pass rusher.
Exactly what I said, y'all.
Oh, I was going to say, your first two picks, offensive tackle and edge rusher, is that just a perfect blend of what you need, but also those were the guys you wanted? Yeah, no, it really did line up just because, like we've always said, we're just going to take the best player. So, look, if there was, I'm sure there was other tackles that were available, or there was other, edge rushers that were available, but these were the guys that we liked. So, when it blends together like that, it's really nice. But couldn't be happier actually. Just from today and yesterday, I know we still got a lot of picks tomorrow, or we lost one pick when we traded up, but I still feel like we got enough ammo to still make a little bit of hay tomorrow as well. But yeah, I didn't feel like it was any kind of reaching for positions or anything like that. I know that those were the popular positions and all that stuff that they were talked about for us, but they just happened to be players that we really liked.
Of that, and really your first answer to Justin a little bit too, but can you explain your vision for the defensive line and how Derek, right, like what he can do on the edge to complete that? Because you have been picky, and people in this room have been on you a little bit, but obviously you're looking for something to
you don't get on my ass now,
no, Brad.
No, it's a good question. Just because what Derek is going to bring, to the defense is, first of all, like you said, you want to call it just being very selective on the type of guys that we get. Hutch takes a lot of snaps, man. So just to have another body that literally can spell Hutch in that, in that rush rotation. When you line up, in nickel and sub defense, a guy that can line up on the opposite, a guy that can line up inside. Shep is going to put the guys in the best position to what they do best, and so that's what he showed on tape. Is he can set edges in the run game, he can rush outside, he can rush inside, and I'm quite sure that's what how Shep's going to utilize him.
Film, it seemed like whenever the ball carrier was in his vicinity, he's a really good tackler in space. Maybe not something that you think of as like the primary skill set for an edge, but what is it about what he does well there, and how valuable is that to you?
Yeah. Well, you always say, you gotta get to third down. You gotta earn the right to rush the passer. And so, those are the dirty work he doesn't mind to do, but it's also a testament to his instincts as well. And so when you start talking about, guys that have good floors or higher floors coming in, usually those guys are instinctive players, and that's what he is. He's very instinctive in the run game. And, it matters because you just can't just be we talk about edge rusher, rush. Well, yeah, I mean, we want to get to the quarterback, but you can't just get gashed all the way downfield either. And so I think that's a good component to his game he's going to bring.
How beneficial was it to see him play in an NFL system? Obviously they've had that Raven-style defense since I mean, it's very beneficial. It's hard enough playing all the forecasting and projecting that we have to do when we're evaluating these prospects. So when you see guys coming out of these programs like a Michigan, or like what we've done in the past at Alabama or Iowa or
or, Georgia, like those guys run NFL systems. So, all the way down to the alignment and the assignment. So to be able to kind of take a little bit of weight off your back in terms of from a projection standpoint, and now you can kind of hone in on, what kind of physical and mental makeup they have for us. But it definitely helps because a lot of the things that Derek did, it might not be the exact same, but I'm sure it's going to be a lot of carryover.
Guys like Blake and Derek, where you said they've improved a lot over the years. Like, what are you looking for to confirm that they can keep growing?
Really just, I would say their work ethic and their football character. And, that's all the work that all the scouts do during the year, just vetting sources and all of that. Now they have to have the proper gears in their body to actually be able to ascend. It kind of starts there, but there's a lot of guys that have the gears in their body, but they don't have the other stuff. So that's why we just put so much work and stock into the intangibles and the work ethic and all that. So you're talking about Derek or Blake, like when a guy's coachable, he loves football. They both love football, and they're going to do everything in their power to be a good football player. You have to make sure they're that first, and then, okay, you start looking at the other stuff. So I do think they'll get better.
When you trade up for Derek today, are you worried someone's going to get him? Was this a guy that you woke up this morning, having that conviction to get? What was what goes on in your head?
Yeah, I will say he was one of the, I would say he was part of that cluster. He was part of that cluster of guys that we were targeting today. So he was already at top of mind going up, but just kind of paying attention to who was in front of us, who was behind us. It felt like just right in that area, there was multiple edge rushers that were flying off. So, and again, I always say, like, that's the fascination of the draft. You don't know. So, Derek might have been, our, 3 or 4 edge rusher or whatever it is but he was our one for what was available. But other teams, he could have been there 7 or 8, and you can't worry about that. You just got to just get the guy that you want.
You had to make sure you got somebody in that cluster.
Yes, that's exactly what we're doing. Yes.
You guys lost a lot of production with Akadine, 11 sacks.
Yeah.
Is it too much to ask a rookie to?
I'm glad you're asking me a question, Carlos.
That's what I'm here for.
Well, I feel like when you don't, I feel like always just kind of
just waiting.
Just waiting.
Yeah. Tiger in the tall grass.
Good. Sorry.
Yeah. So just when you lose that kind of production, is it unreasonable to expect a rookie to come close to double-digit sacks? Do you expect that to come elsewhere? Or what are your expectations for him as a rookie?
Yeah, look, he just needs to come in and be who he is. That's not the reason why we drafted him, Carlos, is that, like he has to replace Q's production. And no, it's not that. Like, if he does, great, but that's not why we drafted him. We do expect that he can become that player, to meet that kind of production in time, but that's not why we drafted him. But I will say him coming on board, he's going to add to, just the overall production of our defense of just adding more sacks and pressures getting to the quarterback.
How do you think that DJ and Derek Moore complement each other? Like maybe slightly different physical profiles, statures. How do you see those two guys, Wanham and Derek Moore, complementing each other?
Yeah, I think they are good compliments because they're both physical players. They're a little bit different, a little bit different body types, but I think they're both. I mean, again, that's why they're here. Is that they fit the requirements of what we look for at that position. So they both set good edges. They both can rush outside. They both can rush inside. So I'm quite sure that, and they're also both good teammates too. So I'm quite sure that, DJ being the veteran of the group, I'm sure that he's going to help Derek a lot. But it's a good question because I do think there are some similarities.
You guys are big on intangibles too, obviously. What does he have Is it similar to Miller, different, and the two guys that you picked?
Yeah, well, first of all, it starts with their passion for football. You know, they both love football. You know, they're going to do everything they got to do to make sure that their body is right, that they're in shape, that they're being coachable, and that they're laying it all out on the line. And you know, look, there's nobody that's perfect or anything like that. Everybody has mistakes, but the passion for football is numero uno for us, and so that's where they're very similar. They both love football.
Coach's impact in your overall scouting process. I know you bring them in kind of towards the end of the process and get their opinion. So, Coach Rogers and Shep, you know, how did they maybe help you land on this player, if at all?
Yeah, they're a huge help on the vision aspect. And obviously, you know, they evaluate the players, and, you know, we have good meetings, we have good dialogue. Because there's some guys that, you know, we'll see differently. You know, there's some guys that maybe that I might like the football player, but, you know, just not really sure where he's going to fit, you know? So, but I will say this, what's been cool about Shep is his open-mindedness in terms of that if a guy has a skill set or let's call it a superpower, he's not going to be rigid and say, well, he doesn't fit in this box, so he can't, like, this guy does this well, then we're going to find a place for him to do that. So, but they're very helpful with their evaluations, their experience, and then just fitting that vision.
Baltimore was going to grab him. Is that way they were right after you guys, the Ravens?
You know, I don't know if they wanted him or not. But you know, kind of got a sense that they were in the edge rusher market, though. Yeah.
But just, you know, about us getting on you a little bit about getting a defensive end. Was it beyond? You know, I mean, I know, you know, getting him was most important, but just to get a defensive end. Is that nice to get us off your back?
No, that was definitely an afterthought after we picked them. But I did think about it. We were walking down. I was like, finally, I'm going to the podium. We drafted. It's been, I don't know, 22 or something. We did it. So, but no, again, look, we just, you know, again, I can't say it probably sounds like a broken record. It's not something that we have been ignoring. It just has to line up. Like I've said, the years past, year before, look, the easiest thing is to draft a defensive end every single round, every single year. That's very easy to do. But you want him to be a good player and produce. Well, then now you're dealing with something else, you know. So that's what the hope is for Derek, and you know, we feel good about it.
Do you think there's maybe still an opportunity to be active tonight? I mean, there's still 36, 37 picks.
We're probably done. I'm not going to hide anything. I mean, I'll go back. I got my phone in my pocket. If someone, you know, I'm not going to turn anything down, but, you know, I don't foresee us doing anything else for the rest of the night. I figured that.
How well do you sleep on a night like this when you've got each of the trenches really addressed and settled?
Very well. Very well. Yes. Good question. Yeah, just, you know, it's not just, yes, like the trenches are so important, and, you know, we're all about, you know, building it from the inside out, but it's just, you know, when you get the guys that you love and they happen to play in the trenches as well, that's just a little bit added bonus, but we'll definitely sleep good at night. Sleep even better because I didn't wait till the end of the night to talk to you guys. You guys will sleep better.
When you're taking, you know, a high value pick like first and second round, how important is it to have, you know, faith and a familiarity with the programs that you're having? Because you have taken guys from Alabama, Georgia, Michigan in these top regions of the draft. I mean, how important is that familiarity?
I mean, it definitely, it definitely helps. It's not the end all be all. Like, look, if there's a kid from a small school, you know, that's just a really, really good football player that he was worth the value of drafting in the second round or first round, then we're going to do it. Now, our work and our process and our preparation is not going to change, whatever that was, but maybe it's time to go. But but in terms of our vetting and our work and, you know, our thoroughness and watching as much film as possible and, you know, doing all our work on the front end with, you know, our sources and the scouts doing the work, whether they're at, North Carolina A&T or they're at University of Georgia, we're going to take the same process. But I do understand, guys that come out of certain programs, you just kind of know what they've been through, and they have a track record and history of producing good players.
Any other edge rushers you're looking at?
Maybe. We'll see. Got a lot of picks tomorrow, so we'll see. Yeah. Huh?
Something tomorrow for Rod or for what's on the
All right, so that's pretty much it for that. Yeah, and just like I figured, they're done for the day. Just looking at the list with the prospects that's left, it's not really anybody that's worth moving up to go get that. You probably can't find the same level of talent with all the picks that you have tomorrow. So the Detroit Lions are done for the day. Derek Moore is the standalone pick, and I'm happy about it. I'm absolutely happy about it, man. I can't wait, to get off of here and start pulling stuff together, and get my notes and stuff together. So this is definitely gonna be fun. Appreciate you, Damo. Thinking to find Miller. Yeah, man. Yep. And you heard what he said there at the end. It's a possibility they go and get another edge rusher if it's somebody that's available that they feel like is talented enough to draft. Hey, man, you might get another one, might get more. But whatever they decide to do, like I said, we just got some holes that we still need to fill. And I'm not looking for any of these rookies that we draft from from the fourth round going forward. I don't think any of those guys are going to be, the guys that step in and be the whole fillers. I'll say that. That's a lot to expect on somebody you pick at that spot and to come in and try to start and fill that gap. So I think the Detroit Lions still have a little bit of things to do over the summer, and try to figure some stuff out. Hopefully, like I said, they keep getting good updates when it comes to Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch, but those are still up in the air. But guys like Rakestraw, higher chance that he can come back and finally establish himself, finally get out there on the field and make it known who he is. So I'm looking forward to that. Guys like Lynn McNeil, I said, you've been working extra hard, man, extra hard, and I expect year 2 after that ACL injury to be much, much better. So we'll see, what happens over the summer, but we still got some work to do. We still got some things to get answered on the defense. We still need another linebacker too, if you ask me. But yeah, those are question marks right now. Yeah. Yeah, I man, I'm not gonna lie to you. It was a point of the beginning of the off season where I forgot about him. It was a point during the season I forgot about him. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, hopefully that was the last of his adversity. Hopefully he can come and establish himself and make himself known. Make himself known. Make it known that we took the right pick. But yeah, you about to see a lot of trading up, trading back, trading up, going on. Victor, what? Oh, Victor Wembanyama is out for game 3. But yeah, that's where we stand right now. So a shorter round 2 and round 3 day. I'm not complaining about it. We can go and focus on whatever else we was focusing on for the night. But the Detroit Lions are done. Brad Holmes has spoken. He literally spoke to every single thing that I just said in that video I uploaded about Derek Moore. Like I said, the versatility with Derek Moore, the intangibles, the hard work, being able to move him around on that defensive line, everything that you need, he should be able to provide that. And what you're looking for him as a rookie is just to get out there and get himself established. If he can go out there and have awesome rookie season, then that's a plus for the Detroit Lions. But I'm not don't expect him to step on the field and be a superstar. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think it's gonna take long. Players like that, it doesn't take long. I think he's definitely going to establish himself pretty quick in this league, man. I can't wait to see his reaction. That's what I'm waiting on. So with that said, man, I appreciate all of you guys for being in here. We got Pistons basketball for the Pistons fans here. Nice and early tomorrow at 1:00. So make sure you guys enjoy this night. Get yourself some rest. We're going to be live during that too. And yeah, keep it locked, man. With that said, y'all enjoy y'all night. Be blessed. I appreciate you guys for coming in here. We'll keep this thing going.